Well, hello, everyone. This is TexAgs Rewind, and I am your pleasant host. I say pleasant because I'm good, David Nuno. My nephew Mason is right here. Say hi, Mason.
What's going on?
Can you say gig him?
Gig 'em.
All right, this guy is considering going to Texas A&M. I'm putting the full court pressure or press right here on the show. I want on the YouTube comments, everybody tell them why A&M's the best school to go to. I'm doing it. I'm putting it on. And I also want you to watch your cousins grow up. Just saying out loud here. Nobody else cares, but I care. Right now, Go Hour is what we had on the show. Billy Liucci joined us during the first part of the show. You know Billy Liucci.
Oh, yeah.
He's the best. We had Aggies in the NFL with Charean Williams on the show. Straight Talk with Jordan Pugh. He brought it, as did Jamie McCoy. Neal McCready joined us to talk a little bit about Ole Miss. But your favorite part of the show was me and my schmedium, right?
That's great.
Yeah, you like the schmedium?
Oh, yeah.
You did say medium when I offered you a shirt earlier.
Yeah.
And then you changed it
And
to
then
large.
I changed it to large, yeah.
He's smarter than that. He's got bigger guns than I do. It's TexAgs Rewind.
No, that's all I've heard throughout yesterday. Kind of maybe culminated yesterday afternoon, and that was about it. I don't know if we'll hear anything formally in the way of a press release. I mean, maybe that'll come out as a result of me putting that out there last night. I'm sure it probably wasn't. To me, that was something that they would probably have preferred just to kind of keep in-house. Unfortunately, the way something like that happens nowadays in a locker room of 100 players, and you've got coaches and staffers and all kinds of other game day personnel and people, and it just starts spreading like wildfire. So I was kind of yesterday, because as I wrote last night, David, and you guys know this, not really, that's the kind of news I don't really care to break. I really don't. And kind of give them every chance to either break it or let something like that stay in-house as much as it can. But that was going everywhere last night. And when it starts getting like that, I think, some factuality about it needs to be, if I've got it, facts, whether limited or comprehensive, as long as there's some stuff, if I know it's true and have double and triple vetted it, then I think it's best coming from us, best coming from me. And that's where we were last night with it. I just said, you saw it starting to rampant speculation on message boards, and it's just something that unfortunately was not going to, just wasn't going to stay in-house. And just wasn't. And it was, and part of that was what I was alluding to on Sunday during the podcast, that just, look, it's just, there's a lot going on. I'm happy that there was some discipline levied. There needed to be, in general, I said the same thing after the Miami game, and that's kind of what's frustrating, or not kind of, it is what's got to be frustrating to everyone is we're a month later, and there's still, you're still having an issue like this. Where multiple players for the second time this fall are getting suspended, and so it's just, the blowback from it that we've already seen on social media, that everybody's texting me that they're driving to work, listening to radio, and they're referencing, my tweet and things like that. That sucks. And that's what, the same thing that happened when the 4 freshmen, again, in that instance, were freshmen as well, were suspended from Miami. I mean, it's a bad optic. It's a bad look, but I think, it's a momentum killer. Not that losing football games was already momentum killer enough. They actually needed some good energy and some good things being talked about leading into a big football game at home, but instead it's the opposite. So we'll see, I guess, how they, if it galvanizes them at all, and if they come together at all. Maybe some of these young guys needed to see some pretty significant discipline handed down. And I've heard from everyone I've talked to that those suspensions are indefinite. And that's, I guess it could be a one-gamer, but It's not like the Miami one was for one game, but indefinite sounds a lot harsher. Maybe that'll get not just the young kids, but get the team's attention a little bit as well.
Billy, would you interpret all this as some young guys being immature and their immaturity just coming out, or would you look at it as a program in disarray?
I would look at it as young guys being immature. I really would. And I'm not saying that the program is in, a perfect spot right now. It's not. But like I said the other day, I think everything, and I hear a lot. I hear most, let's say. What I hear is more a program that thought a locker room full of players that went into a season with very high hopes. And along with the coaching staff, they've done a lot wrong along the way. It's not just Jimbo and the coaches, it's the players as well. They've done a lot wrong in terms of mistakes. It's also not just the players. If they just execute, it's not. It's both. And I don't think it's unfair to say it's both. I mean, I was telling David yesterday, we live in this world where it's like, oh, you can't say, I feel bad for the players. You can't say anything bad about them. No, it's both. Both sides have, fallen far short of expectations so far. And the result has been a season that has not come anywhere close to what those guys expected. So a lot of what I hear just sounds to me like a team that's losing football games. And that goes on. Find me the program that's losing games like that, and that's going on. The things I've heard. As far as what happened yesterday, yeah, I would chalk that up. I really would.
I had Myles Garrett as the honorable mention, 4 tackles and a sack, really playing through some injuries. Number 3, Christian Kirk, 7 catches, 96 yards. Unfortunately, came up 1 yard short of the end zone to give the Jaguars a win on the last play of the game. Braden Mann, we're going to give the punters and kickers some love. 8 punts, 54.8 yard average, 72 was his long punt, 2 inside the 20. And number 1, Ryan Tannehill. The numbers aren't great, 13 to 20 for 132 yards, but a big win for the Titans. Played through an ankle injury. He's in a boot, but he's progressing. The Titans aren't worried about him because they say he's so tough, and he hasn't missed a start since he's been there, so they expect him to play this week. We'll see if he can, but he is tough, no question about that.
Let me ask you this. Can a culture change mid-season? And I say that because I think it has, if so, it has to be player-driven, right?
Can a culture? That's a good one. I would say no. I think culture is a weird word. I think culture is a lot based off of winning. Okay, so you can do whatever you can in order to build a culture, but I think if you don't have consistent successes, a lot of guys start to wane. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I'm doing all this work, I'm making all these sacrifices, I'm doing a lot of things, man, where I'm giving up a lot of what I like to do, and we're not seeing any payoff. And when you have a young team, you have a lot of guys that are freshmen playing, sophomores playing, a lot of guys that haven't been around the program a long time, that are not used to what it's like to make sacrifices in order to be successful. You get a lot of that. You know what I mean? I think, like I've said before, I think Jimbo's a good head coach. I think he's doing his best to set the right culture. Right now, you're just in the fire and you're not seeing the benefits. You're not seeing the results, and it's been consistent over time. So now you're trying to get 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds to understand the bigger picture, and now they're falling down the wayside. I just think it's one of those deals, man, where if you're winning, I think you still have the same issue, guys getting suspended. I still think that, but I just don't think it's as prevalent, and it's not a big talking point as it is today because of the struggles that we've had on the field.
But as a team leader, would you be the kind of guy that go into somebody's face and be like, dude, this is unacceptable. We're trying to win a freaking game, whatever it may be.
Yes, I am. Yeah, no issue with confrontation. Yeah.
But you didn't really know a lot about Ole Miss. People would say, well, how good are they? I don't know. Are they the 7th best team in the country? And I would think, no, they're probably not the 7th best team in the country. And people would push back on that. And I would just say, look, I kind of feel like I know what I'm looking at, and there's problems here, but we'll find out. And Ole Miss scored a field goal, David, on the first play of the second quarter on Saturday. So after the first 3 seconds of the second quarter, Ole Miss was outscored 42-3. Now, that's not a play. That's not a call. That's not one play. That's not, hey, if this, if that. No, 42-3. That's getting your ass kicked. That's getting beat on both lines of scrimmage, at the line of scrimmage, at skill positions. That's a lot went wrong to lose 42-3 over essentially 3 quarters. That's a problem. So what is Ole Miss? I don't know. Ole Miss played a very weak non-conference schedule. Now, they scheduled Georgia Tech a decade ago. It's not their fault that Georgia Tech's horrible, but they played a weak non-conference schedule. They were a heartbeat away from losing to Kentucky. They trailed Vanderbilt at the half, and they had to convert an onside kick to prevent the Auburn game from becoming a track meet. So what is Ole Miss? I don't know. We're going to find out a lot about Ole Miss the rest of the way because, look, there's not a gimme left on Ole Miss's schedule. It's at A&M. And A&M, is only a 2.5-point underdog despite all the stuff happening inside their program. Then it's a weekend off. Then it's Alabama. It's at Arkansas. And then it's Mississippi State at home. I mean, so Ole Miss could win 10 games or Ole Miss could lose out. I mean, I don't know what they – and Ole Miss is I don't think they have the chaos inside the program that maybe A&M has, but Ole Miss is really beat up. There's a lot of injuries on this team, a lot of guys playing hurt, and this is not the deepest team in the world.
All right, Mason, you've watched a lot of YouTube shows in your life, right?
I have. I've watched a lot.
What do you do after you watch a YouTube show?
Well, you got to like and you have to comment, of course.
You're so good at this. And you should subscribe
And you
as well.
should subscribe too, yeah. Turn on notifications, all that.
Oh, thank you. Most people get that wrong. That's Mason. Yeah, he needs to go to A&M, and this is going to live forever on the internet. So take that. It's TexAgs Rewind. We'll see you next time.
Gig 'em.